I am going to begin recording and start sharing. So, if you're seeing me, don't worry, I won't be here for long. This is For the Love of Cooking with Chef Laura Strath. This is week 9 of our spring 2021 program session. We are so glad you decided to come join us this evening. My name is Daniel. I assist the town in moderating some of our free virtual programs. You will be in touch with our virtual instructor, Chef Laura Strath, in just a moment. You can use the chat box to communicate if you want to. If you have any questions about how to participate with the program or how to operate Zoom, you can use the chat box feature, which would allow yourself to communicate with me or the group at large. We do ask that you keep yourself on mute if you're not asking a question, so there's not too much background noise. Know that this is open for everyone in the community, so just be respectful. And then finally, we do record these sessions, as you might have noticed already, and this is so that folks can enjoy at a later date if they're not able to join us on our Wednesday evenings. But that's it for me. Looks like there's a few more folks joining in. Chef, I'm going to spotlight you, and you can take it from here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So tonight I'm so excited because we're cooking with rhubarb, and I absolutely love rhubarb. And I was talking to a few people, and one of the things that we used to do as kids, we had a huge patch in our garden, is my mom would cut us up some rhubarb, and then we would sit there with our bowl of sugar and we would dip and eat. It's a really healthy treat. But yeah, that was one of the things that we used to do as kids. So I love rhubarb. So the scones that we're going to be making are super easy, and it's a very versatile scone. So you can, if you wanted to, at a later date, you can add fruit to it. You could add currants. It's a really great base recipe for any kind of scone. Okay, so what we're going to do first is preheat your oven to 400 degrees, and then we'll get started. Okay. All right. So when you are making scones, a really important thing to do is make sure that you've got really cold butter. So this one's just from the fridge, so you can see like it's pretty firm. Like even when I'm pushing, like I have to push pretty hard to get a little indent in there. Okay, so that's kind of the cold consistency that you'd like. If you're like, oh my gosh, Laura, I didn't even pull out my butter from the freezer, that's totally okay, because what you can do is you can actually use a box grater and grate your butter into your flour mixture. Okay? All right, so let's get started with our flour. So we're gonna do 2 cups of all-purpose, and I'm just doing the dip and sweep method, just to make sure I have an accurate measure. Just remember, our flour becomes quite compact in our containers or our bags. A lot of people ask me, Laura, should I use cake and pastry flour? You don't need to. I tend to use all-purpose flour for most of my baking. Okay, so we've got our 2 cups of flour. We're gonna add in our sugar, our 1/3 a cup. And then I've got a tablespoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay. I'm just gonna make sure I get all my baking powder out of there. Okay, and then we're just going to stir just to combine all those things together, because there's nothing worse than biting into a scone that has a concentrated patch of salt or baking powder. Okay, so before I start digging in here with my butter, I'm just going to make sure that I have all my wet ingredients measured. Okay, so I am going to put in 1 egg, 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, and about a teaspoon or so of vanilla. I'm just gonna eyeball. Okay, and I'm gonna put my egg just right in with my whipping cream. And then I'm just going to kind of break up this mix, this egg, into my whipping cream. So once you're done with your container, don't put it in the sink to wash. We'll reuse it. Marilyn, how did your cheesecakes turn out? Oh, sorry, you're on mute there. I'll wait till you're done cracking.
Hi. No, I didn't make the cheesecakes, but I did make the falafels.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you made the cheesecakes. I thought you were. I thought I remember you saying the
What
cheesecakes.
happened with the tahini?
Oh yes, what happened?
It stayed thick.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that funny?
You know, it was the consistency, as I said, when I bought it, it was the consistency of peanut butter.
Yeah.
It wasn't liquidy. That was buying it at the bulk barn. But since I have seen it at the store in the container, you had the white container. And my sister uses that one, and she said it is more liquidy, no question about it.
Oh, good. But how was the taste?
Oh, the taste was fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, so to our butter mixture, to our flour mixture, we're going to add our nice cold butter. So Mary Ellen's got a pastry cutter, I see, so you can use a pastry cutter or you can use your fingers. So what we're gonna do here is basically we're coating our butter with the flour. Okay, and we're just going to use our fingers and thumbs just to kind of break apart the butter, or if you have a pastry cutter, you can use that. Or if you wanted to, you could use a food processor. I find I just like to just use my hands.
This is kind of embarrassing, but on I think it's called The Talk on City TV. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So there was they were doing scones today, and the gentleman that was walking through was saying that butter being cold was the most important part of scone preparation, because every couple bites you get a nice burst of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It also, when it melts, it actually creates a little bit of a flaky layer.
I thought it was kind of cool that we didn't hear that. So, and Cityline was stealing our programming.
There we go.
Love it.
We have more fun on Wednesdays. So
No, I did not, sorry, Chef, I did not get any rhubarb. It wasn't in the place I went to. I love rhubarb, but I've got some homemade strawberry jam from we made last summer, so I'm going to use that instead.
Oh, beautiful.
Sorry, Laura, could you repeat the instruction on the butter?
Yep.
I was having an egg emergency, so.
It's all good, Francis. So what I just have, I have 6 tablespoons of cold butter.
Yep.
And then I've just started to break it apart with my fingers, just so that
Put
they're
it
like,
in,
sorry?
put it all in like a
Yep,
big.
all in, yep. And then you break it up with your fingers, so it kind of looks like peas almost.
Thank you, sorry.
worries.
Oh,
gosh.
now I can't mute.
No stress. So when your butter is incorporated, your mix is going to kind of look like a little bit on the shaggy side. Okay?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, did someone have a question? Everybody's okay?
Yep.
Okay.
We've had some late joiners, so I'll just quickly note that we are preparing scones. So I'm sure everyone is looking forward to the Victoria long weekend. So
Yeah.
to honor Queen Victoria, we are making scones.
Yum. So
Now, what is the proper pronunciation? Is it scones or scones?
I think both are totally acceptable. I say scones.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm just going to avoid saying that word now for the rest of the show.
Okay, so I've got my butter is good to go. So you can kind of see my mix is just, it's sandy. So to this mixture, I'm going to add my wet ingredients, okay? I'll just pull this out. All right, so just keep your cup. We'll put a little bit of cream in there, and then we'll use a brush to brush the tops of our scones. Okay. Hi, Ruby. Okay, so now we've got our wet ingredients in, so we're just going to very gently bring our dough together. So I'm just kind of pulling my dough around the bowl. The thing with scones is that you don't want to overmix. Okay. So my ingredients are all just starting to come together. You can kind of see it's still a little bit on the crumbly side here, and that's totally fine. Okay. So once my ingredients are about, I would say, 80% mixed in, I'm going to stop mixing here. And then I'm going to put out onto a floured surface. And I'm going to knead it about 10 times. So you can see it's still crumbly. Okay, but it will all come together, I promise. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to get some off my hands. And I'm going to knead it about 10 times. Okay, so I'm just going to push it together. And I'm going to bring it back in. So about 10 times. Put a little bit more flour down for me. Okay, so that's good. So you can kind of see it still is a little bit, you know, break apart kind of flaky, and that's totally good. So instead of rolling it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my hands and I'm just going to press it out into a circle shape. So we want our circle to be around, I don't know, 7 inches or so, if you're okay envisioning that. Everyone doing okay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
This is a great activity, Chef, for everyone to be doing this at the same time. It's great to be able to see so many people being at the same step.
I know, this is awesome. All right, so when you've got your dough patted out into a circle, you can use a chef knife, or if you have a bench scraper, you can cut. I like just to use a knife myself. So you're going to cut it in half and then into quarters. Okay, and then you cut into 8. Okay, kind of like a pizza.
Just a question from the chat here. So what happens if you knead the dough or over knead your dough?
It just means that it's going to be a little bit tougher in consistency, but it's still going to taste good. It's just the crumb texture won't be as light and fluffy. And you can even use, if you don't have heavy cream, you can always use a buttermilk. I prefer heavy cream myself, but buttermilk's great to make a nice fluffy biscuit as well. And don't buy your buttermilk. You can easily make your own buttermilk at home. So that's just with about a tablespoon of lemon juice or white vinegar, and then you just fill it up with just a regular milk, up to about the 1 cup mark, and then you let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, buttermilk is just vinegar and milk?
It's like it's kind of like a soured milk.
Really?
So it kind of becomes really clumpy. But yeah, I never buy buttermilk. I always just make my own.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got a parchment lined tray, and I'm gonna put my biscuits or my scones right on here. So the way I like to put things on a tray is, here, let me show you. Here, let me move this here. Oh, thank you, Tanya. So I go like this. You can actually fit more onto your tray when you alternate up and down. Okay. just like this. Okay. How's everyone doing? Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So into the container that we use to mix our vanilla and our egg and our cream, I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of cream. And I'm going to use a pastry brush just to brush the tops of my scones. If you don't have a pastry brush, then that's okay. You can use your fingers. You can use a spoon. No, you don't have to have one of these. So I'm just going to just brush the top. And you don't even have to do this step. I like it because it adds a little bit more color to the top because of the sugars in the cream. So we're just going to brush on the tops of our scones. Optional if you want. I have some raw sugar. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on the top of my scones. Again, it's totally optional, but I think it makes a nice crunch when you bite into them.
Is there any other scone toppers you can recommend?
Not really. If you wanted to, you could add a little bit of cinnamon sugar. That would be nice with the rhubarb. Okay, so then I'm going to pop these into the oven at a 400-degree oven, and I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. Okay. Awesome. Oh, Tanya, thank you. Okay. Middle is perfect. Thank you. So I'm just putting mine on the middle rack in the oven. 15 minutes? 15 minutes. Thank you so much. Okay. I'll give everyone a second here to catch up. You're welcome, Andrew.
Laura, do they have to be triangular?
Nope, you can cut them in circles if you want.
Okay.
Yep, with a cutter, or you can cut them in squares, whatever you like.
Yeah, I was surprised.
They've just got to be about half an inch thick. Is that right?
Yeah, and just make sure they're roughly all the same size, Francis, so that they all cook at the same time,
Okay, that makes sense.
the same length of time. Mm-hmm. Good question.
Right.
So we're gonna get started on our rhubarb. So there's a couple different ways that you can make a rhubarb compote. Some people like to have it stewed on the stove for about an hour. Some people let their rhubarb sit with their sugar for about half an hour just to let the rhubarb macerate. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do the quick and easy rhubarb compote. Okay.
Oh, chef, I just realized I didn't put my vanilla in there.
That's okay, Marilyn. No
Oh,
worries.
no worries. Okay.
They'll still taste good.
Okay.
If you're adding fruit, when would you put that in, chef?
So when you're adding fruit, you want to put it in at the very end, especially if you're using something like blueberries, especially frozen blueberries, because they tend to bleed into your dough. So it will actually make it a little bit more purple. But I like to mix it in at the very, very end. And then there's a couple different ways you can do them too. So you can roll them out, or you can pat them, or you can even do drop biscuits or drop scones, where you basically take a scoop and then you put them on your tray. Yeah, so there's really a lot of different techniques that you can use. Okay, so if you are cutting your rhubarb, make sure that you've got your wet cloth down. And you can put your cutting board right on top. Look at Tanya brought in this beautiful rhubarb from her garden. We're so lucky. Okay, so I've got my sugar and I've got a lemon. So we're gonna cut roughly about 3 cups of rhubarb, okay? So you don't have to make it look pretty. We're gonna cook it out. Everybody's good? So I'm not gonna measure, well, I'm not gonna measure, I'm just gonna kind of eye it. Okay, and I'm just gonna do mine in an open pan just so that you guys can see what I'm doing, okay? Sometimes with the pot, I feel like it gets a little bit lost. Okay, but if you have a deeper saucepan, then that's perfect. Or a pot, yeah. So I'm gonna say that probably looks like 3 cups, but I've only got 1 stalk left here, so we're just gonna put it all in. Okay. So to our rhubarb, we're gonna add in 1 cup of sugar. So again, this is just to taste. So if you like yours super tart, then decrease the sugar. If you like yours on the sweeter side, then increase. Okay. And then we're gonna add some freshly squeezed lemon juice. Okay, if you don't have lemons at home, then you can use the bottled stuff, that works fine. So I find when you roll your lemon, you can actually get a little bit more juice out of there. So we're gonna use maybe about this much of the lemon, okay, maybe a quarter. So we only need about 1.5 tablespoons. And we're just going to squeeze it right over top. And I'm just using my hand here as kind of like a strainer, so if there's any seeds, they'll actually just get caught here in my fingers. Okay. Okay. And we're gonna start cooking that over medium heat. Now, rhubarb's kind of a funny thing because it can scorch quite easily. So just be mindful when you've got it on the stove that it can burn. All right, so let's see. Let's stir in some of the sugar. And I know it's not on the recipe, but I'm actually gonna add a touch of vanilla to here. And I'm gonna add a little pinch of cardamom. Now, cardamom's not usually in everybody's pantry. So if you don't have cardamom, that's fine. You don't have to put it in. You can add a little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon pairs well with rhubarb. But cardamom also it goes really nice with cinnamon, or with rhubarb. So I'm just gonna add like a teeny tiny bit, like a little sprinkle. Okay, and for vanilla, I'm just gonna add maybe about half a teaspoon. Okay.
Chef, Oma in the chat is asking if you can add a bit of lemon zest to the rhubarb compote.
Absolutely. And if you don't have lemon and you want to use orange, you can certainly use orange as well. Yeah, great question. So you can see actually that the sugar is quick to dissolve. Sometimes it's nice even if you just want to leave your compote plain, and if you want to serve your scones with a whipped cream, you can actually add a little bit of cardamom to your whipped cream, and that's quite lovely. Just going to increase my heat just a touch here. Here we go. I know, is everyone surprised it's the long weekend this weekend?
It's the long weekend this weekend.
I know, right? I know. No school on Monday, Elliot.
Yay, I guess.
Again. I know Chef and I were talking just before we went live here, was like it's already almost the end of May. I feel like we haven't even had a chance to begin 2021 yet, and we're already almost halfway through. It's nuts.
I didn't know either.
I know. It's crazy, crazy. right, I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit here. We were talking about rhubarb, if you can find it. If I have a friend down the street that she has a huge patch of rhubarb, and no one in her family enjoys rhubarb. So I always find really big bags of it on my doorstep. That's a good neighbor. All right, so I'm gonna let this cook out. We were talking about what else can you make with rhubarb. So you can, if you wanted to, you could add fresh rhubarb right to your scone if you wanted to do that. We were talking about making a rhubarb simple syrup that you can add to mocktails or to cocktails. Again, you can eat it just as is. Rhubarb actually pairs really well with rosemary. Sorry, Frances?
My mother used to make rhubarb crumble. So like,
So good.
yeah.
Especially, I wish that the summer berries in Ontario would be a little bit closer to the growing season of rhubarb. Because strawberry rhubarb pie is one of my faves.
Kylie, I don't know the answer to this question, so I'll pose it to the group. Does rhubarb grow all summer long, or is this a seasonal thing?
I'm pretty sure it's seasonal. They have ornamental rhubarb that grows through the whole summer, but I think the edible rhubarb,
Mine grows all summer.
does it grow all summer?
This is rhubarb from Halifax, so maybe it's.
Okay, maybe. Oh, I don't know. I thought it was seasonal.
I pick mine all summer.
Do you? Because I know sometimes once it goes to seed, then
I will cut the seed pod off if I see
okay,
it coming, because
okay,
it puts energy into the plant.
that's right.
What's Chef Tanya saying? Chef Tanya says it grows all year.
Yes, all summer.
Yeah, my friend has a lot of rhubarb that she gives to us if we're lucky, and she picks it up, and then after a month it you can it regrows back and you get another harvest.
Okay, good to know. And it spreads like crazy too.
Oh, apparently, yeah.
If you water it and don't let it seed, it will grow all summer. Perfect. Thanks, Kathy.
You water and don't let it seed.
Can you freeze rhubarb? Yes. Yeah, sometimes I'll make even a loaf with rhubarb, and that's quite good. Or you can do like coffee cakes with rhubarb. So much you can do.
There's a local distillery that does rhubarb gin as well.
I think you got all of our attention there, Daniel.
I've been really amazed over the weeks how guests of this program have been very discreet, I guess, in terms of, I don't know, enjoying a cooking class with an adult beverage. I've never noticed anything, so kudos to all of you. I've had my suspicions about Marilyn. I've seen her drink something, but...
Tomato juice.
Yeah, that's an ingredient of a very popular Canadian.
I know, but it sounds the vodka.
Oh, okay. I'm not judging. I appreciate everyone's discretion.
No, I've got it. I finished it now. I just have ice left.
Nice.
I can truly tell you, I can't imagine pouring myself Clamato juice. I feel like my body would just immediately start grabbing the other ingredients.
Well, I put in the Worcestershire sauce and the lemon, but that's it.
Yeah.
So my rhubarb is simmering nicely. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to, when I'm stirring, I'm just kind of like breaking up the pieces a little bit that are soft. So I'm just breaking up those pieces. It will happen naturally anyway with the heat. But yeah, this is going to be ready in maybe a few minutes. So what I like to also put with my scones and my rhubarb compote actually is a little bit of ricotta cheese. So I put a little bit of ricotta on my scone and then I top it with the rhubarb compote and it is delicious.
So all the fluid we're seeing, that is just from the rhubarb and sugar? Like,
Yep, so this is a lot of the water coming out of the rhubarb. So you can kind of see that once my sugar is starting to heat up, that it's slightly caramelizing a little bit, and this is when you kind of have to watch the heat on your rhubarb so that it doesn't scorch on the bottom of the pan. And then just check the taste if it's sweet enough for your palate. But yeah, it doesn't take a long time. And even if you wanted to, you could add some strawberries into here. I know, I can't wait for the Ontario strawberries to come out.
so it should be soon, right? That's one of the first ones we kick out.
Yeah, usually in June you have your early strawberries. Okay, so mine's starting to come. You can see that mine's starting to brown a little bit, caramelizing a little bit with the sugar. Smells so good in here.
So, Mary Ellen, I think this question is in regards to the rhubarb, but can there be a few chunks in it, or should it be smooth?
No, you can have chunks for sure. Yep, whatever your preference is. Even if you like it completely smooth, you can always puree it. Can
Laura,
everyone?
Yep.
Yep.
Good question. When would you add, like, instead of adding salt on stuff on top of the scone, when would you add maybe some sea salt?
Instead of the sugar?
Yeah.
You could do that, but just decrease the amount of salt that you're putting into your initial dough.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be so nice. Even with a little bit of fleur de sel would be amazing, or flaked sea salt. Yeah, that's a really great suggestion.
Thank you.
And you could even, if you wanted to, you could add some fresh herbs to your mixture. That would be nice with the rhubarb too.
Yeah, love a savory scone for sure.
Me too. Really good questions. Okay, so my compote looks pretty done. So you can see that it's nice and thick. Okay, and it will, once it cools down a little bit too, it will thicken up. Oh my gosh. You guys should see your scones. Thank you, Tanya. Okay, so scones just came out of the oven. All right. So you'll notice they're nice and brown on the bottom and nice and golden on the top. So when you touch your top of your scone, it's gonna slightly spring back, kind of like a cake would. So I'll just cut into one just so you can see the inside. Here, I'll bring it up here. Okay, so you can kind of see, so nice and light and flaky. See the nice layers? So that all is a contributing factor of the cold butter. Okay, so nice and flaky. Okay. Okay, let me grab a plate. So I know some people are probably like, just like get out the butter and put it on there and have a big bite, and that is delicious too. Mary Ellen, I totally know that's what you're thinking. Okay, so usually with scones or when you're making any kind of breads, you want it to cool down a little bit, just to have it, just to let all the ingredients just kind of set, right? But I'm just gonna cut one open just to show you. And then we'll put on our compote. Okay, so nice flaky biscuit. And I'm gonna put a little. Okay, so again, if you want, you can put this right on top. You can have, usually it's better when it's a little bit cool, but you can top it with a little bit of whipped cream or some mascarpone even, or the ricotta cheese is quite lovely. It's a little bit steamy here, but this is so delicious.
Chef, what is the difference between a compote and a jam?
So a jam usually has a larger amount of sugar and a pectin.
Okay.
So usually either a Certo or you could use a natural pectin, like from apples. Cranberries are high in pectin, blueberries are high in pectin. But yeah, and usually with the jam that you would have to put it in a water canner to seal it if you were going to keep it in jars. But you could keep this in a jar. It will last in your fridge for about 2 weeks or so, or you can freeze it too. Kylie, your scones look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gorgeous. Very nice.
Those look great. The cheesecakes looked awesome last week too.
Yes.
She shared a finished product. They looked very, very decadent.
Yeah, those cheesecakes were really good. Yep, my kids were asking me to make them again. Oh yes, quince is also very high in pectin.
I'm not familiar with what quince is.
Quince jam is really delicious.
They're my scones.
Oh, looking good.
Wow.
They
Nice.
look really, yeah, I'm looking forward to eating those.
Yum. Nice work.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mm.
Mary
Oh,
Ellen.
nice, Mary Ellen. Nice. Oh, nice, Francis. I like that yours is a round shape. Oh,
Ooh.
you know what you can do?
Uh-oh.
Just use a rasp, and then you, once they cool down, then you can just skin off the bottom.
What's a rasp?
So a rasp is like a little, like a handheld grater.
Like a
Like,
zester?
remember when we were trying to zest and we couldn't get the cover off last week? That's a rasp.
I
There.
think my oven cooks hot. Like you had 400. I think I should have turned it down to 375. I think that would have been okay.
Did you, you have a convection oven, Francis? Yeah,
Not on convection though.
it's not on convection?
No.
Because I was gonna say, maybe with convection, you have to decrease the temperature by 25 degrees.
Yeah, I think I just have to do that. I run into this problem all the time, and anyway.
But everyone's scones look amazing.
But I have to say, my kids have both tasted the rhubarb compote
Yeah.
and pronounced it delicious. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh,
Excellent.
this is really good.
Awesome. Isn't it good?
Oh, yeah. And that's without any jam.
I love it.
I love that this was something we could like start and finish and enjoy all within the time. That's
All the
kinda
same
cool.
time.
Yeah.
It's nice. Usually I'm leaving with like, I hope everything's okay out of the oven.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And like last week with the cheesecake, it was like, enjoy in 3 days.
Yeah.
This is so good.
It's good. How did it go with the sea salt on top?
I just put sugar.
Did you put sugar?
Mm.
I think the user was Jackman who put the.
Jackman, yeah. How did it go okay?
I haven't done it yet. I'm just
yeah.
writing it down.
Okay.
Mm.
Great.
Kylie, what do you got there? Strawberry jam? Oh, the compote? Sorry, I know you're eating.
Who's eating?
Blueberry jam.
Oh, yum.
I made blueberry jam.
You made it? Nice.
Very good. Maybe a little bit later on in June when the peppers are starting to come out in the grocery store, we can make like a red pepper jelly.
Mm. That'd be good.
Mary Ellen, how is it? Super good.
Oh, chef, before we let everyone go, you should tell everyone what we're making next week.
So next week we're going to turn to savory, and since asparagus is in season, We are going to be making a lemon and asparagus soup with Parmesan cheese.
Oh, great. Yummy.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Very, very delicious. Yeah.
Oh, Jackman, you use the emojis. I forgot about using the emojis.
I love it.
All right.
Aw.
Does anyone have any questions for Chef before we
No,
take off?
no. It's absolutely delicious. They're not going to last long, I tell you. Can they freeze?
They can freeze. Yep,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
If you don't freeze them, Chef, how long do you have to eat them?
I'd say probably about 2 days.
2 days?
Yeah.
Okay. Jackman, you have your
I
hand up.
don't
Go
think
ahead.
they'll last that long.
I I never do.
Hello,
Hi,
Laura.
how are you? Yes.
I'm good. I was just curious in regards to, I missed the first part. When you added butter, you said something about cold butter or something?
Yes. So when you're making a scone, you really want to make sure that your butter is really cold. Even if you don't have cold butter, you can always use frozen butter and use your box grater, and you can actually grate your butter into your flour mixture.
Wow.
But yeah, that the key is really cold butter.
Okay.
And then you
Well,
coat it with your flour, and
yeah,
then break it up into pea-sized pieces. Yeah. So when you're mixing your butter in with your flour, and you just use your
yeah,
fingers just to break it up, the butter, just
right.
into small pieces before you add your liquid.
Oh, okay. And so what does the cold butter do as opposed to just room temperature butter?
So basically what you're doing is you're coating your fat strands with the flour. So you're making it a short dough. So you're making it a little bit more tender when you have a cold butter, and also you'll get pockets. So once you shape your scone and bake them, what's
Yeah.
happening is that those cold butter pockets will be melting, but then they'll leave a pocket of air, so
Oh,
that you
yeah.
actually have like a nice flaky pastry or
That's
scone.
cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're
Yeah.
so welcome. Let us know how it goes with the salt though.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you wanted to watch the beginning, I'll make sure that so they get uploaded usually by the end of day on Thursday. So if you check tomorrow, if you're planning on doing it tomorrow night, I'll try to make sure that all of our weekly uploads are done by then, so you can check out the first portion that you missed.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel.
All right,
Kylie.
everyone.
Hi,
Kylie,
thanks so much for coming.
Kylie, are you getting ready to take your picture, your perfect pictures? I love your pictures that you post. They're awesome.
Thank you.
I don't have that talent. Mine would look horrible. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
Aw, thanks everyone for coming. And enjoy your long
Sure.
weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
enjoy
thank
the long
you.
weekend.
Thanks
Enjoy the
so
Thank you
weather,
very much.
everyone.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye,
all.
guys.